Hello, sir. Huge fan. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Well, listen, Moonfall is a blast, man. You guys really swung for the fences, and I can tell you had fun knocking this one out of the park. So I want to start actually after watching Moonfall, I went back and I watched Independence Day again last night, and
Mhm.
I noticed in Independence Day there's a lot of practically like throwing cars, like you're dropping cars on cars, and you're doing a lot of stuff really in the camera. And in Moonfall, I imagine you weren't able to actually have cars sucked up by like an anti-gravity measure. So I
Yeah.
would love to hear like looking back at 25 years almost later when you're doing these type of sequences that involve cars flying and explosions and all this stuff, like what sort of new challenges, because I know there's new opportunities, what sort of new challenges did those types of sequences create for you with Moonfall?
Well, it's actually easier.
Is it? Yeah.
In, in Independence Day, we had to do this all in real, and and so it becomes much easier. And it's also a little bit an afterthought, because now you can do so much more, and you just like kind of create these incredible images.
Yeah. You've spent a lot of time throughout your career thinking about creative world ways that the world could end, and Moonfall is a film that you came up with. I'd love to hear, is this like your most recent idea, or is this a film that you had to develop and kind of wait to get done until the filmmaking technology would catch up and allow you to create those sequences?
No, it's always, I mean, I did a lot of destruction in 2012, and it's just like a new way. I read this book called "Who Built the Moon," and that inspired me actually, today to do that story. But we come up with a totally different solution what they came up with, and there was like kind of just a great idea to do that.
I love it. A lot of people go into movies and they could be disaster movies, they could be apocalyptic films, but they kind of expect that when a character saves the world will kind of return back to like status quo. And you've shown that's not always going to be the case. There can be destruction and death as a result. Do you find that you have to find a balance of like how much destruction the audience will buy, how much death we're allowed to show? Like, how do you strike that balance to keep the stakes?
Well, you have to always stay a little bit away from cruelty. So you don't want to kind of show too many people, dying right in front of you. And that's like kind of a trick, and then, this movie is like kind of taking also like kind of a little bit a left turn. The moment, this doesn't work to kind of catch this thing, they have to go inside the moon, which is like kind of really, I think, the big surprise. And we show a little bit of it in the trailers, but what happens inside the moon is quite fantastic.
Yeah, and speaking of what happens inside the moon, I'm not going to spoil anything, but you have a big idea that you are unleashing in this film, and it is more
Mhm.
complex than I was ever expecting, and I appreciated that. It also feels like maybe you just scratched the surface. Are you hoping that there's something that follows this? Is there like
Well,
more story?
I always kind of said if this movie works, I want to make part two and three.
Love it, love it. Well, thank you so much for the time, man. I hope you get to see part two and three because I'd love to see them.